Will was just a janitor at MIT. Every day, he cleaned classrooms, took out the trash, and mopped the floors. He didn't wear fancy clothes. He didn't have a degree. Most people didn't even notice him. But one night, everything changed. While mopping the hallway, Will stopped in front of a blackboard. There was a math problem written on it. It looked strange, complicated, and confusing. He didn't know it was one of the hardest problems in the world. Even top professors hadn't solved it. But Will looked at it for a few minutes, picked up a piece of chalk, and quietly wrote down the answer. The next morning, a professor walked by and froze. The problem had been solved perfectly. He rushed into the classroom. "Who did this?" he asked the students. "Was it you, Jack, Michelle, Arjun?" One by one, the students said no. The professor was stunned. How is that possible? This equation should have taken months. That's when the truth hit him. The person who solved it wasn't a student. It was the janitor, a quiet man no one paid attention to. Word spread fast. A genius was hiding at MIT, and nobody even knew his name. The professor had made a promise. Anyone who solved the problem would receive full credit and be remembered in MIT history. But this janitor didn't want fame. He didn't even come forward. He just kept working, cleaning floors, emptying bins, as if nothing happened. But the professor wasn't done. He and a colleague created an even harder problem, one that had taken them 2 full years to figure out. They posted it on the hallway blackboard, hoping the genius would see it. That night, Will walked by and saw the new equation. He picked up the chalk again and started solving it. But this time, the professor saw him. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" the professor shouted. Will panicked and ran. The professor chased him around the corner. But when he came back, he looked at the board and froze. The answer was there, correct, again. This janitor wasn't just smart, he was something else. Will had a photographic memory. He could look at something once and remember it forever. He didn't finish school, but he read every book he could find. While other people studied a page 5 times, Will understood it in one glance. But even with all that talent, he was lost, no goals, no direction. He spent his days getting into trouble. Eventually, Will was arrested for assault. In court, he didn't hire a lawyer. He didn't need to. He had memorized so much legal information that he defended himself and left the entire courtroom speechless. But this time, it wasn't going to be easy. The judge set bail that Will couldn't pay. That's when the professor stepped in. He believed in Will. He saw something special in him. The judge agreed to release Will, but only under 2 conditions. He had to meet weekly with the professor to study math, and he had to attend therapy. Will hated the idea of therapy. Each time he met a therapist, he would find their weakness, use their own words against them, and push them until they quit. 5 therapists tried, all of them failed. The professor was running out of options, so he called an old friend, Sean. Sean was a quiet man who once had a brilliant future in psychology. He could have been famous, written books, and won awards, but something happened, and Sean walked away from it all. Now he taught at a small college and lived a peaceful life. When the professor asked him to help, Sean refused at first, but when he heard about Will's mind, he agreed. Will didn't make it easy. He walked into Sean's office and started picking everything apart. His books, his clothes, even the painting on the wall. Then he said something that crossed the line. Just from a few clues, Will guessed the painting was a gift for Sean's late wife. Sean exploded. The session ended. He kicked Will out. Will smirked, another one down. But the next week, Sean came back. They met again, this time by a lake. Will tried to play the same game. He tried to push Sean's buttons. But this time, Sean said something different. Something real. Something that finally made Will stop and listen. And that moment was the start of everything. Want to know what Sean said and how Will's life changed after that? Follow me, and I'll share the rest of the story.